If you're going to give me pushback on this channel, be man or woman enough to stand behind whatever you say. If you want to leave a negative comment, that's fine. But at least have the decency as an adult and courage to explain your point. And if you have something to say, make sure that when you say it, make sure you give me some receipts as to why you believe the way you believe. Now, this thing you got to take into consideration. When you give emotional statements which are devoid of facts, it basically is saying that you're operating in your feelings and not operating in reason. Because when we have healthy dialogue amongst ourselves, we need to develop a mindset of critical thinking. In other words, if you have criteria that provoke the way you think, not just based upon rhetoric, not based upon talking points that you have not researched, but things that you've researched and have learned how to objectively look at them, and we still disagree, that's fine, because I don't know everything. None of us knows everything. If you've seen things, not just people's opinions, but if you've been able to properly diagnose situations by a conglomerate of information, and you make a decision, not a prejudicial decision. In other words, you have a preconceived idea of what you want to think, and you want to find ways to justify your thinking, even if you see something else. The purpose of this channel is to get people to be educated on the things that's going on in the world. Now, we do deal with, I do in a lot of our larger videos, I do preaching and teaching. But a lot of times on the YouTube shorts, I do make references to things that may not seem like it's connected to church, but it actually is. Because the truth of the matter is that you can't separate the church and the state. Because if we're going to be salt of the earth and lights of the world, we have to make our point known. We have to speak out against things that we believe is unjust. In a couple of weeks, you're going to be going to New Jersey. My wife has never been to New Jersey. And they have a radical way of thinking that's different than the way I live down here in Louisiana. People, by and large, are much friendlier down here than they are where I came from. So it's going to be interesting to see the climate that has evolved since I left New Jersey, going back years ago. But on this channel, we want to be a voice of common sense, a voice of calling things out just as we see it.